The language you use, self-imprisoning or self-liberating. Is the language you use like a reed that bends with the wind? Or is the language you use set in stone? If we could only allow ourselves as a whole civilization to realize that the inflexibility of language is what imprisons us inside the cocoon of the human intellect, we would ever momentarily make the effort to become more aware of the language we use to constantly create and reinforce the veil, the first great hurdle we must cross in attempting to traverse the distance between the mortal mind and the mid-mind, the soul. The soul has vast powers of perception and communication with the Universe Father's indwelling spirit, the thought attuner, also called the thought adjuster, thought monitor, and thought controller in the final stages of soul maturation. But the soul hardly has a chance to function when it is constantly being starved with the impoverished and self-imprisoning language we habitually use, privately and publicly, on ourselves and on others, along with oftentimes evil actions, immoral behavior. Whether you are right or whether you are wrong, you are still right. Isn't this at the root of our present state of intellectual and ideological warring that is tearing at the fabric of societies around the earth? Every individual wants to be right, regardless of the cost to the self and to others, even when they are clearly wrong. To defend what is truly right and wrong, even at the cost of one's own life, is never wrong. But to live by the highest principle of wisdom, the argumentative defense of any proposition is inversely proportional to the truth contains within it the deepest wisdom of the human experience, the quiescent mind, which perpetually stands in the presence of the spirit fragment, the pilot light, which the universe creator sends to indwell the mortal mind, and the true source of the creation of the evolving mortal soul. So then, what does this principle mean? The argumentative defense of any proposition is inversely proportional to the truth contained. In its simplest and deepest meaning, the more you have to argue for what you believe is the truth, the less truth it contains. This is a statement of principle that bears repeating over and over until it really sinks in and you really get it. The more you have to argue for what you believe is the truth, the less truth it contains. You remember that principle we talked about in the last article, where what we usually believe is the truth, just the inverse is actually the truth? Don't let these words just roll over you. Stop yourself. Take them to heart. Internalize and meditate upon this simple yet profound principle of human interaction with others and with yourself, with your own internal and external self-dialoguing when no one is present. And within this simple yet profound truth lies the experiential path to self-control and self-mastery, wherein one evolves into the place within the temple to the innermost holy of holies, the place of sacred connection to the most sublime and subtle levels of communication with this indwelling spirit of the Universe Father God of all living things and beings, the thought attuner, without whose presence in the mortal mind all would be darkness and cessation of identity existence, beyond the cessation of vital motion in the animal origin body of the human individual, would end in permanent and eternal death. The exploration of fixed versus fluid language, leading to these sublime and subtle levels of communication with the indwelling thought attuner, is yet to come in future articles.